Are your kitchen and bathroom way overdue for a remodel? Well, I got the guy for you. Call John Sellers at First Response Contracting, 484-256-7136. Both residential and commercial services, and he's licensed and insured. Call him at 484-256-7136. First Response Contracting. Hello, this is Brad Weisman. You're listening to Real Estate and You. We are back in the studio. It is now October, and we are doing a show that is very appropriate for this month. Very appropriate. I got a guy here that reached out to me, and he said, you know what? I am somebody that does afterlife researching, but I'm also thinking about getting my real estate license, and I'd like to have you document my progress or my trip through this whole thing. And I said, you know what? That sounds good. Then I started digging deeper, and I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's legit. He was on like Netflix with a show and everything. So I'm going to introduce you to Aaron G Thompson right now. He is on the Zoom here. It's great to meet you, man.
Thank you so much for responding, by the way, to my message, Brad. Yeah, I've been listening to you as you stated. I'm on a journey.
Yeah.
And I just thought listening to the shows, and at this point, I've got to say I'm close to 200 episodes of different podcasts and radio format, just to get the narrative of what I'm moving into. And yours really connected with me, and I'm super stoked when you replied. So I'm like, oh, nice, awesome.
Well, you know what's funny? Yeah. I get a lot of now after this is close to our 150th show. I don't know if it is the 150, but I'll have to look into that. But it's close to the 150th show. I've been doing it for 3 years, and I weed through a lot of the shows of people that reach out. There's a lot of companies out there that manage guests for podcasts, which I never knew until I started my own. And what's interesting is I get a lot of them, and this one, of course, really stood out. One of the things you said that really stood out was that my daughter and you have the same birthday, for day, not year. But yeah, right. So it's May 14th, and I thought that was cool, and that hit me. So you did a great job writing that email.
Well, and thank you. And it's all, it's true, 100% true. I was sitting on the idea, I think a few days prior, just thinking like this would be kind of cool, but it's a new water I'm treading. What can I do? And I kept pushing towards that. Then all of a sudden I heard the episode.
That's weird,
with your daughter's birthday. And right when I was in that thought process, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I even sat on it for like a couple more episodes. And I'm like, you know what? I'm pulling over because I was listening, and I'm just sending the message.
That's really cool. And especially because of what you do now, I think you're probably one that is accustomed to listening to the whispers. You know what I mean? Yes. Like a lot of people don't listen to the whispers. They just ignore them. And I think that's what do you want to call it? Gut feeling? What do you want to call it? A superpower. Yeah, exactly. So that's interesting. And so that's what you heard. And that's why I reached out. And that's why we're having this podcast, which is really amazing. So let's just talk about what you're doing now, and then we'll get into what we want to follow you do over the next months. So right now you're an afterlife researcher. What in the world is that?
Oh God, I don't even know. I'm still diving in myself. So that's I tell people I train myself wrong as an adult, because this is a subject matter that I'm very comfortable with for 24 years. I've been plucking away. That's probably why I did TV, because I still look young, so I can kind of pull back and keep me for a couple seasons, right? But the passion was there. Yeah. And I like puzzles, I guess, because somehow this is the world's hardest puzzle to figure out, what happens when we're not in this vessel, in this shell. But it led to so many other opportunities. And I tell you what, I first started doing this.
What was the first? Let's talk about that. What's the first? Like, when was it you were like, okay, you know what? This is what I'm going to start doing. This is it. Was there a sign? Was there somebody said something to you, or you saw something, heard something?
I use the curse word coincidence so often. That was my knowledge base. If something like happened, I'm like, oh, coincidence. And I just disregard it way too often.
Yes.
But I had a fear of death. Honestly, I was in my teens. And for some odd reason, I had this fear, and it was irrational, just because it just came up. I don't know why I was thinking these big picture scenarios.
Yeah, right.
And I wanted to honestly wanted to find out if ghosts were real because it seemed plausible.
Yeah.
And that was my gateway drug to Afterlife ultimately, but I didn't know it at that time. And I didn't know there's so many different layers of religious outlooks. And there was, the metaphysical and the pseudoscience and even some science scenarios that pull in psychology. I mean, it's just so much, right?
There is a lot around that.
And it was just me challenging the normal and trying to be unbiased as possible. And I still pride myself on being very unbiased with this discovery point, or I guess process. And it led me to having these crazy Indiana Jones adventures and these great aha moments in these scenarios where my head explodes. And I'm like, oh my God, monsters exist.
Wow.
In some context. It's bizarre, but the big thing is that superpower that I figured out about 10 years after I jumped in, which was a coincidence. Like, there's no such thing as coincidence. That's a curse word. There's no coincidence.
And of course, I said it right off the bat, Hugo. I said the curse word. Yeah, right away, I said the curse word. I always thought it was just the F word that was the real bad.
No, that's fine.
It's the other C word.
It's long. Yeah, you got to start spelling that, sucker.
So that's interesting. So you're 100% convinced because of the work you do that there's something going on around.
So it's funny. I'm speaking at a convention today. So I'm on the East Coast, and I'm doing this awesome event with the Halloweeny season coming up, and the popularity of the TV show, and just my work in general. I'm on the East Coast. I'm in Massachusetts. I tell people, I joke about it, I'm probably the most unpopular ghost hunter, if we want to use the marketing term, because I'm the only one that'll tell you that ghosts and spirits do not exist in the context that we feel that they do. I
saw that quote.
I love it because it matches data and it sounds like the most plausible buildup. So I tell people spirits and ghosts, they tend to be a biological reaction of the consciousness separating from the vessel upon expiration. So
what the hell does that mean?
So think of like an echo, right? An emotional burst, an echo or an imprint that has AI capability. So Graham's perfectly fine, but Metallica got it right. Because if you think about emotions, biology, 100% emotions are biological. And the limbic system should not follow you when you pass away. It's like your clothes, it's your heart, it's your
meat suit.
It's your skin.
I heard it's called a meat suit. Yeah, exactly.
And if you've ever had the pleasure of interviewing someone who's stated or who's had confirmed after death experiences, they all say they're at peace. Which peace is void of emotions. It's null of emotions. So if you think about it, they're just shedding this shell and they're just jumping into the ether, the great scenario. And whether that's, I call it one consciousness. It explains in my studies, prayer, well wishes, good vibes, tomato. It's what's your intents, right? Your intent's huge. It's your focus point. It's one consciousness, but is that a 1D any type scenario? Is it there's a mechanic that goes beyond that, but I'm trying to dig into the questions and ghosts and spirits. I mean, there's those scenarios out there.
Yeah.
However, I feel they're more man created. We create our own monsters.
Well, we have to put a label on it. We have to have it mean something.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's human nature.
Cultures,
yeah.
I think Japanese cultures have and don't quote me exactly on the number, but I want to say like 36 different names for spirits.
Wow.
And me, it's just ghost, spirit, poltergeist, and I keep it as simple as that. But they have pretty much an extreme emotional reaction is a different name.
Yeah.
Like the suicide spirit,
okay, so with all this being said, what are you looking for when you go into a building? What are you listening for? What are you looking for? What is it that you go, okay, there's an energy here or there's something here?
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Are you tired of looking at your car covered in road salt and winter grime, or not quite getting the results you would like to see from the car wash? Well, I've got just the solution for you. The Detail Shop, your go-to destination for premium auto detailing.
And it's funny because I'm different than I think. A good amount of the field agents that do roll in with me, just because I'm on a different phase, perhaps. I don't need my buy-in at this point. I'm not looking for the buy-in. So what I'm looking for is mechanics, is repeatable mechanics. So typically I use these taboo devices that's so bizarre on why it would pull multi-syllable direct responses out of the ether, but it does. And I try to reverse engineer that in conversation, in clear direct responses on site, and we just try to see if we can get matching instrument reactions.
Wow.
Say we have radiation detectors, we call them electromagnetic field detectors. They're basically to detect radiation. The phenomena there is that it picks up a free floating anomaly, whether it's a ghost or spirit, that's a different conversation.
Yep.
However, by behavior of emitting energy and radiation, it radiates from a source. If you can't find the source, that's pretty spectacular.
Gotcha. Yeah, exactly. Because obviously, if there's something there radiating, then something has to. It doesn't just come out of pure thin air.
And I still question it whenever those moments happen, because it's mind blowing. I offer the most bizarre actions. I do a lot of actionable scenarios on site to get to elicit a response, and it speaks up more often than none. When it does, it's like, oh, I should be ready. What's going on here?
So talk about your Netflix show that you have.
It was an honor. It was an honor to be associated with the project. It really was. So Netflix, we hit, I believe we're the most viewed paranormal themed show in history. It was the Avenue. I'm not saying we're the best or we're the most well received, but we had the most eyes on us. We're on Netflix. We hit number 5 first week. We're out there, I believe, number 4 in the UK, and I think went to number 6 worldwide in that first week. Awesome. So we had a lot of eyes on me. Super cool. The exposure's neat. We're seeing that pop up a little bit this October again. It was exhausting.
Yeah, it was exhausting. So how many shows did you guys do? I mean, was it several shows?
It's only broken down to 6 episodes, but there was 3 different teams. So I was a part of one unit that went to a location, and the house was actually built in 1776.
Wow.
Midwest, we don't have.
I was going to say, because typically that's on the East Coast.
Yeah, that was in Connecticut, Preston, Connecticut.
Yep.
And I didn't know where I was going until about 3 days before we started doing filming. Right. So I got the plane ticket. I'm going to Connecticut. So I went there. They blindfolded me, and then they drove me to the location with 2 other people.
Wow, and interesting.
We were isolated. We were isolated for 28 days, and that was all legit. I had no cell phone, no internet. I couldn't talk to my little girl, which was rough.
Oh, that's really tough.
And we just I just had these 2 other people, occasional executive producer comes in or walks by, but other than that, it was isolation. And
so naked and afraid with clothing on.
Well, okay, yes, but we had cameras in the bathroom, and for whatever reason,
in the bathrooms.
I'm sorry.
Oh, not in the bathroom. So, I was going to say, what kind of show is this?
I'm in the bedroom.
Oh, okay.
And I was getting up, I do my morning routine. So I do push-ups, and, I'm in my underwear, so that's how I sleep comfortably. Yeah. Well, I never thought they were going to use those scenes, but so they got transitional scenes with me in my underwear a few times.
Oh, that's hilarious.
The funny thing is, I'm more of an Egon. If you would label me as a Ghostbuster character, I'm more of an Egon. I got these big ideas. I got these experiments. So I got these really smart things to say. And then here I am doing push-ups in my underwear. And that's kind of like my character. I reach out to all the other talent. I'm like, well, guys, someone had to be the heartthrobs. You need to step up. But man, all right, you did me dirty, Netflix. No, I'm fine with it. But it's 6 episodes. It's 3 hours. Super easy watch. Yeah. If, any of your viewers go and watch it, I would say I only seen it once. And
what's it called again? What's the name of the show again?
28 Days Haunted.
28 Days Haunted. And it's on Netflix. We can search it. We can watch it on there. I'm going to definitely check it out. I haven't gotten a chance to do that yet.
And think about the locations being the characters, not the talent, not the humans, but think about the locations being the characters. And I think it will fall in place a lot.
That's better. Cool. Well, 1776 is really, even for the East Coast. I mean, we have some that are from the 1600s around here, but 1700s is definitely, that's old.
It's cool.
Was it a log home or a log building?
It had, and I don't know what, if throughout the years, of course, it had renovations. Sure. So it wasn't straight log, but it might have started off.
Yeah. A lot of times what they did is they covered them. They covered the logs usually with other types of surfaces later on.
We had some original nails we found in a location, which was interesting. And out on the patio, like day one, we're walking around and my foot goes right through one of the planks.
Oh, no. So tell me, so now you got in touch with me Not for paranormal, not for the afterlife research stuff, obviously, because my show's not about that. You got in touch with me because you're looking to change or not change, add to your list of careers or add to your list of things that you want to do. Real estate has become something you're interested in. And you came to me and said, hey, what about documenting my process or my journey? I guess it would be my journey going from thinking about real estate. I even have it I actually printed out exactly what you said to me. And basically you said, how about this? You said, we would do the first show which would be this show here about learning about you and your life, and then how you would be getting into real estate. Second would be, is it still a desire? Are there classes and how are the teaching and the classes going? And then you said the third would be, basically taking the test, seeing how that goes. And then it would be after that going, okay, did you do anything with it? Did you make any money? Did you sell a house? Whatever. Yeah. And, it's an interesting concept, and that's what we're going to go on here, because I don't think that's been documented with anybody before that I know of.
And I was listening, and when I was listening, and mind you, I'm listening in a different capacity, right?
Sure.
I think a lot of your listeners are in the business.
Yeah.
You're giving a lot of great information, and I'm asking questions. I'm looking up the best I can, but I'm just thinking to myself, how neat would it be if I would have kind of seen, I hear about the success stories of, after, the top one producers, which is awesome, but what about their origin story, Yeah.
And it's interesting you say that because, we have a statistic in our business. 1 in 10 make it past the year. Yeah. You're looking at 10%. And now that also depends on the company that you go to after you get your license, because the training has a lot to do with it. The culture of the company that you go to. And that's something that Keller Williams, I'm not going to just, toot our own horn, but I want to, because it's a great company. Right. Keller Williams is known for the culture. They're known for their educational ways of doing things. So, our thing here in our office is probably like 3 out of 10 make it, or 3 or 4 out of 10. So we have a really good ratio. So talk about, so you're already looking into the classes, right?
Yeah, actually, I'm reaching out to a reference that you threw my way, which was awesome. So I'm actually looking to I'm still following up with her, see about a full scholarship.
Yep.
In the process, which would be huge.
Yep.
So hopefully we get that kind of straightened out.
Well, if you have an issue with that, let me know, because I think I can help you on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And beyond that, once I get that, I'm going to plan out 10 days plus days, whatever it needs to do, and I'm just gonna hit everything right then. I've already planned that period. My goal is to step in a house in December. I want to say December 1st. That's bold, but that's
you could do it.
Hitting for absolutely.
Think big.
And the thing is, I'm so motivated. I've already had I have a buddy locally who's a contractor, and I've already sat down with him. And he has houses he buys, he flips. He needs a realtor to sell them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just reaching out to see who's doing what.
That's smart.
People already know that this is a thing. Networking's always been a thing for me. I used to train customer service in a call center environment.
Yeah.
So I'm passionate about people.
Good.
And that's what steered me wrong, I think, about 10 years ago, because I've always looked at realty.
Yeah.
But I've never committed to the bit, I would say, because there's other perceived priorities that took flight. And I had a narrative in my head because I didn't talk or communicate enough about it, that it was more of a sales job. And the more I'm watching it, the more I'm talking to friends who are into it, it's absolutely not a sales job.
No,
and not. I love that.
Yeah, it's
because
not.
that's how I do business. I meet, I shake hands, I build relationships and support one another. And the growth has always been exponential.
It's serving and relationships. Serving and relationships.
I'm actually reading a book. I'm reading a book right now that someone suggested. I was reading on the flight. I'll probably finish it after this call.
Cool.
It's called Go Giver. And
I know what's funny is that's I haven't read it yet, but that's one that's going around the real estate world right now.
It threw me off, because I'm used to like reading science books, paranormal, stuff that. So I was expecting like a diagram and just like facts and this and that. So that's what I went in for, which I was fine with.
Right.
But it's in story format, and I got to say I appreciate it. At first I was thrown off, but after reading it, I'm like, you know what? This is fun, and their points are hitting.
Yeah. It's supposed to be a really good book. Really good book. Now, before we got to wrap this up soon. So one of the things I want you to do is I want you to talk to Aaron yourself, but I want to talk to yourself in the future and answer this question.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're going to talk to yourself in the future. What do you think real estate's going to be like for you? Like, why are you getting in it, and what do you think it's going to be like?
I'm getting in it to serve, right? And I know that we've just talked about that, but I think that's the best word out there. I've hosted in the 2 Christmases in a row. I hosted something called Holiday Spirits, keeping the theme of what I do a few years ago before COVID. And it was basically me just crowdfunding and dropping a lot of money on someone's bill, or someone's, single father who unfortunately lost his wife to cancer, now has 5 kids, he's raising those. So I just got a lot of money. I provided for the holidays. So I call it Holiday Spirits Give Back.
That's cool. Very cool.
Was awesome to me.
Yep.
But I lost that ability when 2020 hit. I've been kind of on the, I've been on a path. The goal's always there, but I've lived homeless. I lived out of my car, lived in my parents' basement. I even rented my cat a hotel because I couldn't work with the cat. So I would, get the cat there, and then I come back. I mean, it was just bonkers on what I do, but I'd always smile. I wasn't depressed or unhappy in that time frame. I had a lot of control. So though I was hustling all day, I was busy. I was making things happen, on the line. I had control, and realty provides that hustle, that constant hustle that I desire. Yeah. It pulls that idea where I can get out of, the basement, off the streets, and actually build my life, take care of my little girl. I'm in my 40s. Right now, I just want a good career where I can put in the work and get the return and give back. And even fuse a little bit of my ghostly humor in with the scenario.
Absolutely, you can.
The field hasn't even really touched bases that I found, but yet everyone seems to be on this this vibe type of mentality, which is awesome. But there's a community out there.
Well, and that's what you're going to find with the new modern realtors in our business, the ones that are succeeding at a higher level and are also sustaining their business at a higher level, are doing things that are different than the others. And it's basically, this business is all about taking who you are and building relationships based on who you are. It's not being anybody else. It's not trying to be a salesperson. It's being exactly who you are. We just had in here the other day, the guy's name is the Bearded Realtor. He was just on the podcast.
I saw that.
He was just on the podcast recently. And, he basically, he's like, look, I wear my hat backwards. I have a long beard. I have tattoos up to, which I noticed you have a tat sleeve too, I think too. He's got tattoos and stuff. And he's like, you know what? And he's producing at a very high level. And you know why? He's not trying to be anybody else, being himself. Absolutely. So you should definitely work into your marketing or into your sphere when you start networking and start selling yourself as a real estate professional. Use what you do, because that's what people are going to buy.
And one thing that kind of came to my head with realty too, real quick, is so when 2020, I was losing control of everything, So what I want to do is I want to gain control. So what bubble of control can I? So me, I control my body. So that meant gym, eating right. So I started eating right. I started doing gym, but I chose not to do the scale, weigh myself, because those numbers just always mess me up. Yeah. So I just hit the behaviors, and results happen. And that's my game plan. Even going into this, I'm going to hit the behaviors aggressively, positively, just keep doing it. And the return comes.
You're exactly right. If you do the work, it will definitely come. And if you follow the rules and follow the systems and models that are already set up, it'll work. But you just want to do it in your own way. But what a great conversation. I'll tell you what. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have you come back when you're ready to take the test. Okay. I want to set up a podcast for you to come back, and I want to find out what you've learned. The things that you've done so far, like reading the books and doing all that work. I want you to come back, and I want to see what you think of the business so far, because Absolutely. I think you're going to find that things are going to change in your mind. You're going to think of things differently. And I think it's funny because the stuff you're going to learn in the books and the tests and everything has nothing to do with what you're going to do the rest of your life. It's really just to get your license. It really is. It's funny.
Right.
So, but I'm excited to see this whole journey.
Cool. Thank you. And thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of the show. This
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely. All right. There you have it. That is Aaron G Thompson. I got to make sure I keep that G in there, right?
Right? I got to keep those G's flying.
That's right, man. All right. Talk to you later, man. Have a great night. All right, there you have it. We're going to bring him back. That's Aaron. Yeah, what an amazing story. Goes from, ghosts and all these different things, and now he's getting into real estate. And the good thing is maybe when he goes into the houses, he'll be able to tell people, hey, you know what? I'm not feeling anything here. If you're afraid of any of that stuff, it looks pretty good. So there you go. It's a little different feature that he's going to be able to sell. All right, that's about it. We'll see you next Thursday at 7 o'clock. Are your kitchen and bathroom remodels a little overdue? Well, now's your chance to call First Response Contracting. John Sellers will take care of you. 484-256-7136. They do residential and commercial, and they're licensed and insured. Give them a call at 484-256-7136.